Good morning and welcome back to the Up Zone, where understanding politics is made simple. We are your two hosts. I am Tisha S. Waddell, former City Council representative for the 3rd District in the city of Fayetteville, North Carolina, and Mr. Elmer Floyd, our other host, former North Carolina House Representative for the 43rd District in the state of North Carolina. Good morning, sir. How are you?
Good morning. I had to turn my ear so I can make sure that you didn't take my title again. So, okay.
I'm doing
I'm
better.
doing well. You're doing a lot better than what you started off with. I don't know why you wanted to take my
I
title.
don't know why it just was flowing so naturally, too.
So, so each time that you bring us on, I had to listen
You have to
very
pay
carefully
attention.
to
You
make
have to
sure.
pay attention.
It's very,
Listen,
very.
we cannot spark any rumors at all, so we have to keep that clear.
I don't know now. There's a lot of discussion around here in Fayetteville that
I know, Mr. Floyd. I
unique
know.
conversation. You know,
Mr. Floyd,
but
it's almost, I know we didn't talk about this at all, but it's almost
uh-huh.
time for people to start ramping up to file for Fayetteville City Council again.
Yes, yes, it is, and it's gonna be a. I believe it's gonna be a somewhat of a unique field, and the burning of this energy plant is going to be important in this election cycle, because many people feel that there is what they call environmental racism
Yeah,
as it relates to these unique companies that always can find a certain district in which to locate their
their
organization.
projects. Before we
Yes,
get into our announcements, I want to ask you a question, Mr. Floyd, about these
yes.
upcoming elections. Do you care to make any predictions as to who may enter into the arena to run for mayor?
Well, I mean, rumorville is that again, many say that the gentleman, uh,
Mario
uh,
Benavente.
yes, that's one. Kathy may throw herself
Kathy
in the
Stewart.
race
Mhm.
if Coburn does not opt to run, because Kathy don't want to run. In many instances, Coburn run. Then the question of it is, what is the mayor is going to do if he does not run?
Because he's already sent his brother to Raleigh.
Yes. So and I'm sure that he does not want to lose that prestige and run for Senate and get seat number 50 out of 50.
You mean taking it from Senator Applewhite?
Yes, and that's me. Now remember what I said. Now, does he wants to run for that seat and get 50 out of 50?
When
That
he's
means
number
that
one of one in the city of
yes,
Fayetteville?
yes. I mean, is that and then at the U.S. House level, that's it's already drawn for a Republican, and given away our party is doing, and I heard and talked with so many people that are not satisfied with the way that our party is 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 being ran today.
And Mr. Floyd, I'll be
And
honest with you. If
it-
President Trump continues to perform in polling numbers the way he's performing, a CNN poll gave him a very high rating for his speech where that he made in front of a joint session of Congress. If he continues to perform that way, and if your party continues to sit on their rumps when little 13-year-old boys are brought before them and commended by the commander in chief, and they can't even clap for those little boys, they're going to continue to draw negative criticism, and it's going to
right.
continue to damage your party.
And again, that
Because that
too
little
may
13-year-old black boy didn't do nothing to y'all Democrats. Y'all could have rooted for him.
well, I'm just saying to you, we are going to have to change the way in which we conduct our
Rapidly.
business. We elected the same person to chair our party at the national level. I mean, state level. And at the same time, there was a report about inappropriate behavior that was paid out to an individual, as an example, that was leaving within a short period of time. And so, but they said that the chairman knew nothing about it. But as being an EEO person, we look at it as the CEO should have known.
Should have
And
known.
then when you get a case of sexual harassment, it's automatically investigated. It's not a hush hush type thing. So we really gonna have to change. And back to what I said earlier, I've seen so many persons indicating, and some have already switched, their party. But I just hope that they would somehow get some, would rethink and do some reconsideration. But some of them are just hardcore thinkers. But once they make their mind up, it's a done deal.
It's a done deal.
So,
Absolutely. Mr. Floyd, what are
mm.
our announcements, sir?
Well, we have what they called a meet uh, uh, and a speed dating, what they call it. That's on the 15th of this month
Mr.
at
Floyd,
5:30.
speed dating?
Well, that's what the Democrat Party calls it, and mingling, there with your elected officials. And
Okay.
that's on the March the 15th, and it's at 5:30 to 7:30 at the Crest Rooftop, and that's at 229 Hay Street. So you
Okay.
can meet your representative, you can mingle with them, and you can sort of have a conversation with them. I just hope that your members, your elected members, will adjust their schedule to be there. And
Oh,
I'm
they'll
not
be
sure.
there. That's the mayor's building. They'll be there.
I just hope that they would be there, to meet the. Put I hope the elected officials would
How
be
many,
there.
Mr. Floyd, how many opportunities do you see elected officials not take to rub elbows with constituency and take pictures?
You asked me that. We are the only one. I mean, I've been to many community meetings, and just the last one that I went to, I was able to see one elected person there, and it was a biracial group, and it was about 111 people there, and quite naturally they came late. So, when you come late, everybody can see you when you walk through the door.
Is that is
That's
that why people come late? I thought we came late
yeah.
because we were somewhere else before.
Now, in many instances, you know what time the meeting start. I mean, you know, and each time that we see you, you always walk in late. So
I know who
you
you're
have
talking
to
about, but I'm not gonna say any names today. I'm not
you
saying
have
any
to read
names.
the indicators. You have to read the indicators. You
Yeah,
you
I'm not
know.
saying any names today because I know who's always late and who always makes a grand entrance and a grand departure.
Okay.
I'm not saying any names. What other announcements do you have for us,
Okay.
Mr.
Now we have this, and congratulations to the Fayetteville State women's basketball team. They beat Virginia State 64-59, and our men's lost 71-65 to Bluefield State. So we were in the CIAA tournament. So that is a money maker and a very meaningful out. It's a money maker for the African American community because we have people from that come to attend that from all over the state, and many people come from out of the country to come back just for those 4 days
Yeah.
there. And then the ACC women tournament is from the 5th to the 9th, and that's at First Horizon Coliseum in Greensboro.
Hmm.
So that women basketball now really as far as men is really outpacing the sales in many
That's
instances
very
in the
interesting.
market.
That's
And,
interesting. I'm not a basketball fan. That's not my sport. I prefer football, but that is very interesting. Mr. Floyd, I do want to make one announcement out as a just as a sidebar.
mhm.
Almost 7 years ago, we initiated what was known as the community social. With the support of the Fayetteville City Council, myself and my team oversaw one of the largest gatherings of elected officials and citizenry in a very laid back environment. And it was an amazing to do. which has yet to be outdone. And I bring that up today because at that event, one of our elected officials had told me ahead of time that it was going to be his birthday. And I remember this because I purposed that since I knew it would be his birthday and because I knew he would be there, that I was going to bring him cupcakes. And ever since bringing that elected official cupcakes every year, I happen to remember their birthday. And so, because it is 7 years, the event was on a Saturday. This person's birthday is on a Saturday again, 7 years later. Y'all know how it goes. So, I would like to wish County Commissioner Glenn Adams a happy early birthday. His birthday is this Saturday. If you know him, shout him out, tell him happy birthday, and let him know that I told you to tell him happy birthday because I like to let people know that I remember their days when I actually remember. I'm not good at remembering that stuff. So don't be mad if I don't remember your birthday out there. I only remember this because it is tied to such a significant event for me, which was that community social. I would love to see the parties adopt a platform similar to the one that we did on that day. Mr. Floyd, you were there because we invited
Yes.
our elected officials, and you saw the camaraderie of the community that came out to EE Smith, and you saw how everybody there was something for everybody, and people got to be briefed on issues from the state level, the city level, the county level, and from the agencies that serve at each of these levels. And it was just a good time. I would love to see the parties or the politicians that are in
Well,
office pick this up and do this periodically, Mr. Floyd. Why aren't we doing something like this?
each time that I get an opportunity to participate and be part of a program, I take that opportunity as an educational opportunity to help inform our citizens of
Absolutely.
the services and understand the services that municipality should provide and how to attain those service. I don't care what platform it is when I get a chance to do that because many of us don't know all the service and the organization that's available in our community. So I think that the program that you had in any program should wind up to be an educational program.
Educational
So in our
experience.
community, yeah, so our community can understand because we got so many elected officials that my word is that I prefer. I call them car salesmen. They
They
can
look,
sell
they
you a
look,
car
they
with
look
no wheels.
slick, Floyd.
They can sell you a car with no wheels on it.
Yeah.
Okay, so no wheels on it, and that's what call a lot of them. But their ability to deliver the wheels after they sell me the car still does not ride in a timely manner. I still have to wind up using public transit because the tires will be there in 2 months. I wait
Yeah.
2 months. Tires come 6 months later.
6 months later. Well, happy
Six
birthday,
months.
Commissioner. Happy birthday to the community social. And for the speed dating, I hope that it's successful. I think that, like you said, people should I think that's a weird name for it, but people should absolutely connect with their elected officials
Oh,
at every opportunity because there's a lot to be discussed. Speaking of a lot to be discussed, Mr. Floyd.
let me share this with you also.
Mhm.
Is that the Democrat Party is going to have their precinct meeting between organization meeting March the 16th through March the 19th, and their convention is going to be April the 26th
Will you
of
all be
this year.
discussing how you're hemorrhaging members to include those at the leadership level?
Well, I don't. I, those things is not one of the topics that they discuss. So you
That
know.
should be at the top of the agenda.
Teach them, it become a time that every organization, do evaluation of itself and see, just where they are, and so that they won't continue to recite. I mean, to duplicate their agenda with very little changes.
Yeah. The only agenda that should continue to be duplicated with no changes at all is the agenda of Jesus Christ. Everybody else should constantly be tweaking and modifying because we need to. Anyway, Floyd, what else you got for us by way of announcement?
No, no, I mean that is it. I just hope.
I know
like you
you guys
just
are
mentioned.
having a meeting tonight. Tell us about that meeting because that's our first topic we're going to discuss. So there's a waste to energy plant that is apparently, and let me just kind of go through the high points real quick. Apparently, it is seeking a new location. So essentially, we've talked about this before where there was this plant that was considering locating in District 2. They plan to open their first facility at 555 Cool Spring Street in Fayetteville, converting plastic waste into diesel fuel. Of course, residents had concerns and local organizations expressed opposition due to the potential environmental and health impacts, which led to the company reconsidering the location. Let's talk about that meeting tonight.
Well, that meeting tonight is a communicational meeting. We have had discussions, and uh, we waited all weekend to receive some communication. We have gotten calls from different people about the company changing its mind and looking for a new location. And just before we came on the air, there was a call from a person that indicated that the company has agreed to another location. But what the person did not say is that yes, they are looking for a new location, as they mentioned, but they also want to leave that as a collection site
Mhm.
for the burn center, meaning that the the collection will be remain there, and they are going to transfer it to the burn site. And so, that's why the meeting is going to continue to go forward. Had we had taken that information, and many people asked us to cancel the meeting. So if we had canceled the meeting since the industry said that they're looking for a new site, but they are required to get a special use permit. So we had to cancel our meeting and not organize. You don't know what the special use permit will entail.
Right.
So if they get the special use permit and you don't know what it entails, the burn site can still be at this location. And so, that's the meeting tonight.
So
Uh,
what you're saying is nothing is finalized until it's finalized.
until it's finalized, because you're gonna have to appear before they're gonna have to appear before the joint planning board to get that special use permit. Then they are going to have to appear before the city council for the approval of that special use permit. So there's a two-step process that the community need to be involved in. One is appearing before the joint planning board in opposition of the permit at all, in all fashion, even as a collection site. Okay. And then with that being as a collection site, this is not a clean collection site, it's a trash site.
Right.
I have a well, not some. Well, I have some friends that walk around with four legs that can find that location, and since it's trash, they can find that location and they can increase their population. For that. So we have to fight that, because if you look at it from a standpoint of view, there has been millions of dollars invested in that area to revitalize it.
Right.
Now, if you look at that site where it is, and you look at what we're going to talk about later on our program, is the $145 million civic or convention center,
I can't wait
and
to talk about that, but I'm gonna
a
wait.
$45 million and a $45 million parking deck
Right.
within a mile of this facility, and people are going to ride by there and see this beautiful art design of plastic. And they indicated that they are going to burn 30 tons per day.
Right.
And so we're meeting tonight to organize to
Mr.
make
Floyd,
sure
did you
that
call it a beautiful art project of plastic?
what's gonna be a dump, so it's gonna have to be up and down, valleys and hills, it's not gonna be just an oval shape, So it's gonna be an art fashion. I mean, with all the colors, plastic is red, blue, white, yellow, all of that. it's gonna be a it's gonna be a lot. But the thing about it, its location, are there. It within striking distance of a mile of our courthouse,
Right.
our county offices, our city hall,
Right.
and our downtown restaurants.
Right.
It's so it's just not a good site. And then the county, may look at this as not a good opportunity to invest $175 million, close to a unique facility.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what our discussion is going to be tonight. And we do have some people, we do have some specialists that's going to be there tonight too to help us as we present, our argument before the Joint Planning Board and also the City Council.
Okay. So, Mr. Floyd, it's not done until it's done.
Well, you can't. I mean, you have to look at the language teach that people use, and the language that they use for us is very boilerplate, and it's sort of enticing to us and lure us to sleep because they know as a community, we would jump after something. And if we just let it, just like with Fay Block Company, with those 3 lots that they want to,
If you let it
to
go, it's
if
done.
you let it go, then all of a sudden it appear and you are not prepared. You
I
know,
want to remind people of, since we're talking about if you let it go, I want to remind people about the conversation that we had some time ago, even when it came to the rezoning of the property east of the river that the mayor is responsible for attempting to redevelop. I want to remind you that you all should be asking some questions about the validity of the vote that rezoned that property, because it would appear as if a member of the council recused themselves unnecessarily based upon bad legal advice. And it would also appear that another member of the council did not recuse themselves based upon not
that,
receiving
that,
good
that,
legal advice.
Keith, we had this discussion before. You just upset because after the conversation, the man said, "I need for you to talk to my attorney." So you still upset about that?
Well, but
I
Mr.
mean,
Floyd, but the
huh?
reality is both of those two people having either recused or not recused themselves could have potentially changed the outcome of that vote. And the
I know
people
that,
east of
Chief.
the river they need to push that.
I understand that, but there was a good conversation, and at the end of that conversation, the
Talk to my
man talked to my attorney.
which is
Okay.
a professional relationship.
Yes. I mean, that's what he did. I mean, the man has a right to say who he would like for you to talk to. So that's what he did.
And if you have
After
any
saying
questions
he,
about what I'm referring to, and I say this because I think that Evie Weisblatt does occasionally watch our program. Evie, I think you should look into that. I think that there's something there that you need to really dig into, because understanding how conflicts of interest and recusals work, there's been a number of instances where the Fayetteville City Council has expressed a conflict of interest or has recused, even dating back, Mr. Floyd, to the project that's on Kane Road with the what the people in the area called the, I'm doing air quotes, mini prison, with the facility that's the halfway house. So I think that people should really, that our media, our mainstream media should really pick up on this and ask some questions.
well, we was told, I mean, quite natural in this process. We communicated with our person that represent that area, and we got a nice, I mean, it was a beautiful staff written letter back to us, indicating why they could not really participate in the meeting. We did not want the person to participate in the meeting. It was simply to invite the person to the meeting so he
Right.
can get additional information, showing that he can be able to make a sound decision,
Yeah, but
not
with the
just.
special, but with the special use, and I want to say this in defense because I don't want anybody to think that there was a declination. Anytime there's a special use permit involved, we if you are on the council, you are not permitted to have any dialogue or participate in any dialogue outside of it, because it's a quasi judicial hearing, and which means that you are essentially acting as a body that makes a legal determination, and you can't hear anything that could
Well,
potentially be said.
okay. I don't tend to disagree with you on that, agree or disagree. But I do think that if a person is going to have to make a sound decision
Mhm.
about matters, you cannot just simply get the matter and the information from a staff person
No, but
presented.
that information is supposed to, that's why you give opportunity for people to come to the meeting to present their case, because it's like
But
a court case. You have to come and present your case in front of that body.
you're right. And then what I'm simply saying there is that is that that person that have not, just like we talked about the person, I want you to talk to my attorney,
Yeah.
who has not did anything beyond coming in that Monday night or whenever to review the information, have not did any research on their own
I
to
understand.
to study the matter.
But
So, but
by law, they cannot attend your meeting.
that that's okay, whether they
Okay.
did or not. We still, but we still got a nice staff written letter. I mean, the city
Yeah.
staff, the city staff
And I think
is
sometimes we need
magnificent.
to let people know that this is legally, I legally can't do this. And let me say this, because y'all know I don't defend the council. So you're welcome, Fayetteville City Council, because y'all know I will tell the truth if it's the truth. Legally, they just can't come.
But it's good to teach, like I said, teach. It was a good staff written
City-
letter
Listen,
back to us.
the city staff is excellent. They know how to make their people look good. They're excellent.
And it
Mr.
did. Now, I'm giving you praise. Now, it said what you just said. I mean,
Yeah.
but it was written so beautiful. I want when I see Doug, I want to commend him on his staff.
Commend his staff. Yes,
Yeah.
I commend them frequently. They
Oh
are
man,
they
it
are
is.
excellent.
It
Speak.
includes North Carolina statutes and all that stuff. Like you said,
All
it
of them.
includes North Carolina. I mean, everything. I mean, it was just beautiful.
Yeah,
I mean,
absolutely,
but
absolutely.
still, I think that I mean, I understand what you said. The letter said the same thing, but what we did also is
Let me tell.
ensure.
Wait, back up, Floyd. Let me say this real quick. Now, it's interesting to me because I'm going to go back again to the halfway house on Kane Road. If you recall, and I don't know if I put this in my letter or not, but I certainly have been talking about it very vocally. If you recall, when I was on council, one of the allegations that I put forward was that as a result of the special use permit on Kane Road, that needed to be revisited because we had council members who were in communication with the council for the halfway house project, the council being the council who we're talking about, that person said, talk to my attorney. They had conversations with this person prior to the meeting, which violates the law
Well,
about
you
this.
know, maybe the county. Well, I just say this here. I'm going back to thank Doug when I see him with the staff ability to communicate, to do a good job in communication. I mean, it
Absolutely.
said exactly what you said, but our thing really, in all sincerity, was to inform the person, about, the meeting. That was
Absolutely.
our whole thing, was to inform the person.
And
But
I'll tell
but
you, send them all an email. Once you guys finish your meeting, I'm going to tell you what people used to do to us anyway. Send them all an email with the findings of your information. You won't get a response back because legally they can't respond,
what we
but they
know,
will read your email. They will read your email. That is not illegal.
what Tish, I don't do that good. But one thing as a politician, when I was there, I could not read well. Okay, that was one of my things. But I could count numbers.
We can count the votes.
You understand what I mean?
Make
Now
us count to six. We can count the
we can,
votes.
but joking
My
about the reading,
grandbaby
but
can count those votes. Yeah.
yeah, we can count the votes, and that's what the people are going to look at in
They
this
need to.
upcoming
They need to
election.
start paying attention to that. They need to
You
pay
see,
attention to that. Mr. Floyd, speaking of counting the votes, I think that we saw such an interesting turn of events last night. When I got this message, I was scratching my head and I was praising the Lord all at the same time because I said, somebody's got good sense somewhere. The Board of County Commissioners unanimously decided to have an attorney. They've suspended the Cumberland County $145 million project or paused it for a 30-day legal review. Let's talk about it. Mr. Floyd, essentially what we're seeing happening is
Mhm.
the Crown Event Center is intended to replace the aging Crown Theater and Arena and provide a more modern venue for various events and performances. The new facility is planned for downtown Fayetteville. We've already seen them break ground at the intersection of Gillespie Street and Otis F. Jones Parkway, adjacent to the county courthouses, where the parking lot used to be. I say used to be because they didn't tore it up. This project has a budget of $145 million and encompasses approximately 134,000 square feet. The county officials have initiated a 30-day pause in construction to conduct a comprehensive legal assessment of the project's contracts and compliance with relevant laws. An external attorney from Hutchins Law Firm has been engaged to perform this review. Is it Hutchins or Hutchinson?
Hutchinson.
Okay, to
I am.
perform this review, ensuring objectivity and thoroughness. This suspension may impact the project schedule, potentially delaying. And the county, we have one of the county commissioners, Henry Tyson, come forward and say that we don't know if this means a delay, a repositioning, so like putting it somewhere else, or altogether scrapping the project. What do you think we should expect to see, Mr. Floyd? What's going
I,
on?
you know, you know, investigations sometimes uh, different things pops up,
Uh-huh.
and and I don't know how deep this investigation is going to be, so I leave that part, you know, there,
Mhm.
because when you do an investigation, you follow the dots, okay,
Like Kathy
all
Jensen used to
across.
say, follow the money.
Well, that's what I'm saying. You follow the invoices.
That's
Okay, in
right.
this case, you follow the invoices and see where those invoices go. And the other thing of it is, I said to you early on, and I showed you a picture of where they was doing the electrical stall. I had a problem with that location and many others because of the footprint, very small footprint. And then again, you are jamming $130 million in a small footprint. And where you want to invest that kind of money, you want it to jumpstart economic development from the private sector. And then on top of that, you want to build a $30 million parking deck to accommodate this small footprint. I just
Right.
hope that the county said that it may or may not affect it's definitely going to push back the date for completion.
Right.
But I just wish that they would take that $170 million. Well, it's a little bit less than that because we've already torn up my beautiful parking lot that I used to park in and visit the courthouse. So, you know, uh, but to jumpstart economic development in another location within the county, it's just like they've talked about E.E. Smith School, whether to build it, on Fort Bragg now, because as of today, to jumpstart economic development. That's what you want to do with public money is
Right.
how can you use public money to jumpstart economic development
Do
and
you
the
think that
location.
the company that is responsible for this project is it Metcon? Metcon?
Yes, I believe
Okay,
so.
so do you think that Metcon is going to have to bring in some legal counsel to represent them? And if so, I know that there's a past instance, I think back in 2018, where Metcon pursued legal action against a one Jerome Chavis in regards to some defamatory posting of content online. And when they made this lawsuit, when Aaron Thomas and his company Metcon and some other parties made this, proceeded with this lawsuit, they employed Jonathan Charleston's law firm, the Charleston Group. Do you think that we will see Jonathan Charleston's law firm, the Charleston Group, involved in this discussion because of their prior interactions? Like, do you think that it's possible that just like we've seen Jonathan Charleston intercede on behalf of clients before against the city, that we'll see him interceding on behalf of this particular client with the county?
That's the type business that he provide. His law firm provide that kind of service.
Hmm.
And so when they begin to look at and follow the invoices will tell how much involvement at this early stage, by his group. That's what their law firm do. And so, again, I look at it as a standpoint of view is who has the best relationship in this community.
It all goes
And
back to
so,
that. It always goes back to that.
so nothing personal. I mean, if I had a business, it's no doubt who I'm gonna get to help me because of their relationship. I mean, I'm not going to set something up to fail. So, you follow as this group indicated that they are going to look at how the public money has been sent, and I'm sure
And
that
I
they will
really
look at
appreciate
invoices.
that. I appreciate that, Mr. Flood. I appreciate the fact that this body said that even though the previous body had already made these movements, that they wanted to review this on their own and make sure, because at the end of the day, like I learned with that parking deck, at the end of the day, even if it wasn't yours to begin with, you take ownership down the road because it's yours once you start signing off on POs. It's yours.
Don't get me to start talking about your fitness center, T. I can't, I can't handle that, T. I can't handle your fitness
No, I
center.
get
So,
it. I understand completely. I completely understand it. And again, they always say hindsight is 2020. So I appreciate this body because this is the largest development project of the county in the county's history. At least that's what the article said. With that being stated, I think that due diligence is required. And it's
it's required.
unfortunate. Yeah, it's unfortunate that they could not apparently rely on the due diligence of the previous body, and that they, because that says to me that something may have been glossed over it, because trust me, you should be able to have your staff go back and pull any information you need to set your mind at ease about a project. And if that information does not exist, the fact that we are seeing them go through this process says something.
Well, I mean, a lot of times, Chief, that's why as a elected body, you have the staff. The staff, I mean, what they are paying this attorney, and by the way, there is no set fee for his charge as of today. But that staff is going to provide the
Him the
information to the
information.
attorney.
But see,
And that
this
same
is the
staff
beauty.
person say what?
The beauty of bringing in external counsel is that when it's all said and done, because many people think that this says you don't trust your staff. That's not what this says. This says I want to protect my staff, because the staff is going to turn this information over to external counsel. External counsel is going to then provide a recommendation based upon what they see. And then the body is going to have to move according to that recommendation. This to me is a key indicator that they've already seen some things that give them pause in how all of this has played out, because you don't just jump from having torn up the parking lot and starting to bring in the cranes to saying, wait, pause, hold on, let's go and look at this. Somewhere along the line, there's something that has raised a red flag for them where they have unanimously agreed, let's go back and take a look at this. I would
Well,
also challenge that it may not have necessarily been unanimous behind closed doors, but by the time you come out to the public, you might as well go along to get along if you know the votes are against you.
well, a wise politician with a matter like this, a wise politician is just a search matter. And so there's no point in me standing up and be opposed
And making
against,
an issue,
making an
especially
issue.
given the revaluations of property values in Cumberland County and the potential of an increased tax assessment against property owners. Like all of these things are converging at the perfect time where if there's a pressure point anywhere in Cumberland County, it's going to put pressure on it and cause a fracture. I think this is a very smart move.
Well, I mean, when you look at the county overall footprint going forward, if you look at this $170 million, if you look at the tax evaluation, if you turn around and look at the $803 million with a school building and renovation, when you look around with over $1 billion with a water and sewer, that's a lot
Yeah.
uh, to move the county forward there. And then so it's a lot that the county has on its plate right now in order to move itself out of a tier 1 status.
Absolutely.
Because if you don't have these things, why locate? Why locate you? I
I
mean,
want
why
to show
locate?
you my phone because I want everybody to know that I really did. That's just if you want to email me, that's my email address. I don't mind you emailing me. This is a message that I sent to Jimmy. Hey Jimmy, would you be willing to share your thoughts on the latest, what does that say? Development regular, I'm reading backwards,
Hmm.
regarding the event center. I know you did extensive work to get that finalized before concluding your term, Tisha. So I sent that last night when I saw that. You see, I haven't received an answer yet. I'm hoping that he will respond. We've corresponded. Me and Jimmy don't have no issues with each other. I'm hoping he'll respond because I think it's very interesting because this was something that he was aggressively pushing for before he concluded his term.
Well, Tish,
In fact, he was pissed when there was a delay because he was like, "What do you mean delay? We're getting ready to come off of this board. We've worked to get this done." Go back and look at the article. It was in the newspaper. So, like, I know this has to be frustrating for him.
well, Tish, and I said it to one person that sort of participated in this process. I said, well, 2 Republicans convinced 5 Democrats to put the building where it is. And I say, when you look at it, those 2 Republicans had this vision, and that's what their constituents wanted, was to have a center. And they convinced 5 Democrats to put it in its present location. They
Yeah,
did that job.
yeah, they
They
did a
did
good
that
job
job.
with that, didn't they?
They did their job. So when you look at it, but we could not do our job when we knew that E. E. Smith was outdated and need to be somewhere, placed somewhere. So, but we beleaguered that for about 6 or 7 months. When we had it in March and we make some kind of decision, and I think around after September. I mean, we had an opportunity to build Smith at that time, and it went from 99 million to 159 million to build, depending on whether or not you go flat or you go up. So
Right.
we have an opportunity to do certain things, but as minority elected officials, we like your friend told you, if you had a backbone of earthworm, we just simply like to sit in the fit in.
Which one of my
He said
friends
it
told
all.
me that?
Dr. McMillan Doodle. He
I
told
know.
you that in front of
I
your
think
face.
that was my friend Elmer Floyd who told me that at Doodoo shoe shop. That was you, sir.
I mean, sometimes you got to step out of your comfortable zone, if you want to effect changes. So this is what this new board is not comfortable, but when you're spending millions of dollars, you need to get a view of where you are. And it will,
Absolutely.
the earlier view will determine you're gonna have some cost overrun. I mean, that's a narrative project, but it will give you an opportunity to actually see how much the cost overrun is going to be. It's going to be some cost
Absolutely.
overrun that, so don't
And
even
I
worry
think
about
we ought
that.
to keep a close eye on this because if they relocate it, that will say something. If they decide to terminate the project, that will say something. And most certainly, if they move forward, that will say something as well. But Mr. Floyd, if they do either of the first two things, you made a statement to me last night that tickled me. You said, what are they going to do about the parking lot? Because they are then going to have to put that parking lot back in. And for the property owners around there who have sold their properties as a result of this impending development, what is that? How do they then feel about that? Because
Well, we'll get a few. I mean, if they opt to move it, in which I hope that they do to give it a better footprint. So it can jumpstart economic development because you can build that. I think at 3,000 seats, but then again, I still got to ride 7 miles to get some accommodation. So why not build it where that you can jumpstart economic development, hotels, motels, restaurants, and other things, around it, just to put it in that little small
yeah, because I don't
footprint.
understand why we wouldn't want it closer to our airport. That never made sense to me. That never made a
Well,
lot of sense to me. But I don't. What do I know?
I mean, but that's what I'm hoping. So if they move it and give me a few more parking spaces because of the Yarborough building, it's okay.
It's all right,
At least I'm
Mr.
close.
Floyd.
At least I'm close to the people there.
Yeah, let me ask you a question, sir. So, the commissioner for the Carolina Division of Motor Vehicles, Mr. Wayne Godwin, has led the NCDMV since 2022. He has come under fire, Mr. Floyd. I mean, we got people dying outside of DMVs. We got people passing out. We got people waiting online for hours and being turned away. So he has come under fire and he has decided not to seek reappointment and is
Good.
now after right, but after being told by the incoming governor that he was gonna have to reapply for the job. That is an indicator. When somebody tells you that you're gonna have to reapply for a job that you've already been appointed to, that pretty much lets you know you getting ready to get fired.
Yeah. But when you look at it, I believe he was the insurance commissioner at one time.
Okay.
Okay, he was the insurance commissioner at one time, and he lost, during that election cycle. And then, like most governors, they will find a place for you.
Yeah.
And so they found a place for him to manage the Department of Motor
In the
Vehicle.
wrong place.
And then again, so you got another person who is a holdover from Beth Purdue, I believe, which is Pry Gibson. He is sort of like the the go-to person or the leg person for Cooper, and now he's the leg person for Stein. And I served with him in the General Assembly, and he
Hmm.
taught me one thing: Pry Gibson, don't sign nothing because they can lift your signature and put it on the signature, in which he did, saying that I supported him for the governor of North Carolina. I believe
Yeah.
when he ran.
Yeah.
So with let me give you an example. I had a friend of mine that went to the DMV. He went there early to sign up because he had lost his license.
Yeah.
Okay. Then they told him to come back at 11:30.
Yeah.
Okay. You know, when they come back at 11:30, he got to get what? Back in
Back
line.
in line.
Okay. Now, when you try to apply and renew your driver's license online, it's a nightmare.
Sure is.
It is a nightmare trying to apply, for your license. And then again, it's a delay after delay after delay
Yeah,
and
because I
long
remember when my
line.
daughter was going to get her license for the first time, the length of time that from the time that we went online to the date of her appointment was unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Yes. I mean, so given with modern technology, you know, I, when I go on posts, it's just amazing to you.
Mr.
I go
Floyd,
on
why
posts.
is it that when we go ahead, say that because I'm about to ask you a question just because you brought
And
that
when I
up.
go on posts, I show them my ID. Okay, I show them that ID within, and the gentleman put I guess it's the camera, whatever it is, within seconds,
I
my
have my
picture show up. Within seconds, my
I
picture
asked
show
my
up. I mean,
husband, I said, why is it that I looked at my husband when I went to get my ID card. I said,
Uh,
why is it that I came in here and I'm walking out with my ID in my hand, but the DMV, I go in and I gotta wait a week or two before I get my ID card?
I mean, this what I'm talking about is technology. I mean, here it is. Now remind you now, no call. I mean, no wire attached to his monitor or whatever you want to call it, that stream, so it goes back. Wi-Fi. Okay. I mean, I'm talking about with it now. Now, bear in mind that there's cars. There's 5 cars before me.
Right.
Okay, and all of them just zoom through,
Yeah.
zoom through.
Thank
But
you, ma'am. Thank
DMV,
you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
yeah,
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Yeah.
yeah, have a good day and have a good day. You go to
Yeah.
DMV, you might well carry your lunch, and
Yeah.
then the offices that they have. I mean, the offices is the size of a matchbox. Okay, it seems like they get the smallest office that they can have in order to serve people. Now, how in the world you gonna serve people, and you got an office? I know I'm talking about a service area, 20 by 20.
Yeah. Well,
Okay,
Representative
20.
Brendan Jones of Columbus said this has been a failure under your tenure. Representative Dean Arp said this is this is the number one complaint we get, and the frustration level is excruciating. And
Yeah,
Godwin said that many of the challenges stem from inadequate funding and staffing. He pointed out that 80% of the positions designed to manage customer flow remain vacant due to the lack of benefits, hindering effective service delivery. He also noted that North Carolina's swift population increase has intensified demand for DMV services, exacerbating existing issues. He basically said, this might be my fault, but it's your fault too, because you're not putting enough dollars toward this program. His recent testimony before the House Oversight and Reform Committee shed light on systemic problems within the DMV, including delays in issuing driver's license and identification cards, which takes me back to what I said about the federal process. If I can walk into the ID card office, be in there for 45 minutes, have them verify all my information, get my picture made, and print my ID so that when I walk out with the tangible card in my hand. What is going on at a state level that we can't get the same thing done? So as the DMV prepares for new leadership, they are going to have to address these highlighted challenges, which is going to be crucial to enhancing their service efficiency and their public satisfaction. What do you see happening with this, Mr. Floyd?
I see that they are going to have to get someone with a lot of computer background in order to change the outdated system that they have. And when you're talking about benefits, are they state employees? All state employees get the same benefits, per se, whatever the benefits are. But it's service that is there. I mean, if you go, I'm just repeating again. Office is key. It is key to, and
Thanks.
and if you, for instance, if I use the office, there's 2 offices down in the Utah Center. Okay,
Right.
but then again, there's an office out in Spring Lake. Some people just go on up to Dunn. I mean Littleton. They walk in and walk out. You know, but you expect Pet Fayetteville with the large population that we have is to have more offices and better services. Now, for instance, like the driver's license part of it, that's mostly a contract, but it's still the same. It's still the same when you go in there, and the only thing you want to do is get some license, hand them the money, and get
Let
you
me
your
get my
driver.
license. That's it.
That's
That's
your
it.
tags. I mean, your tag. That's all you want to do. Hand them the money because what it is a tag renewal. So why do I have to stay in there 4 hours to just simply give you, my renewal card,
Right.
you know, hand you the money and walk out?
Right.
So if you go there, you might as well just stop by Hardee's or McDonald's
Right. And bring your lunch with you. Take you
and
a
bring your
chair.
lunch.
Don't go on a hot day or a cold day because you might be sitting outside. And just be ready for the wait until they do something
But,
differently.
but the problem that we have, we continue to utilize what I call holdover from one administration to the next administration. And that's how Wayne was able to move in that as the chair of the Democrat Party at that time and a former insurance commissioner. They just said, let me find and give you
Let me
this,
find somewhere for
whether
you
you
to go.
qualified for it or not. Okay. But it's sort of like a reward system.
Yeah. Well, I am glad that he did bring about the enter into the conversation the budgetary aspect, because I do want people to understand that everything costs money. Mr. Floyd, I don't know if we mentioned this at the top of the program or not, but I do want to mention it now. We talked about property valuations, and we wanted to make sure that people remembered that they have until the 24th to appeal the value of their property. There are some parameters around which you have to, like, you've got to be able to prove your point. You can't just state a claim without making proof of it. But if you're willing to go through that process, absolutely go to the county's website or follow the instructions on the letter that you received and file your appeal. I think we've decided in our household, because see, Mr. Floyd, this is the thing that I realize. It does cost money to run a government. We know that. We do expect some efficiencies, which is why a vast majority of the people who are paying attention to what the Department of Government Efficiency is discussing are not necessarily as upset about some of the people who are not, in fact, paying attention, but are just going based upon news clips. Because we recognize that if our governments become more efficient, that is a less that they got to be beating us over the heads trying to get our money to make up for their inefficiencies. Now, with that being said, I want to encourage our audience, if you know, because see, we don't want to remain a tier one community. We want to improve our standing from tier one. If you can afford to pay the cost of an increase, maybe don't run out trying to figure out a way to get out of it. If you cannot afford to pay it, and if truly your property is not valued at that price, absolutely file an appeal. But let's be realistic, because it does cost money to run a government. And at this point, because we are not courting major corporations, Mr. Floyd, the only other money they have to tap is taxes and fees.
Well, let me say this to you. It's good and it's bad, but the appraisal company right now are going to charge you a nice little fee to do that appraisal, and you got to look at that.
My mother said exactly what you saying, Floyd.
Charge you a nice fee, and it won't be the fee that it was in
When you bought the
24.
house.
Yeah.
This what my mother said. She said, when I bought my house, my appraisal cost me about $350. She said
Hmm.
today, because my cousin just bought a house. She said, and when your cousin told me that her appraisal was either 1,000 or over $1,000, I thought back to when I bought my house. I said, now think back to when your parents probably bought their house, what the fee was.
Hmm.
These increases are to be expected, and they are sticker shock. They are.
Yeah. So
But
do
if
I
you're not
want?
prepared to pay that fee, you will not be getting your property value reassessed.
And I can't see. I just believe that, as we close, I just believe the county would look at it revenue neutral plus. Okay, I don't see them looking at raising the fee to what the tax evaluation
Right.
value. So I'm just saying that look at somewhere between revenue neutral plus,
Hmm.
and a wise politician is not going to raise your property tax 10%.
And we
Okay.
see the Cumberland County Commissioners being very wise and going back and saying, let's review this
That,
deal we already got going. So I don't see why that would change moving forward.
I
But I
just
do
don't see
expect
that.
an increase. I do expect an increase. And I think we should
Oh, I
manage the
mean,
expectations of our listeners.
but
Expect an increase.
they have a justification to look at that increase, but I don't
I think
see.
the city's also going to be increasing our taxes, Mr. Floyd. I think we're going
Well,
to
you
be
know
paying
that,
higher
Tish.
taxes also.
I mean, that. Come on, Tish. That's a given. They got to make up 11 to $12 million that the county took from them. Okay, so it's a
So
given.
expect some
I'm sorry.
increases across the board
Yeah. No, no, I'm sorry, Tish. As we close, you will
as
see
we
some
go,
increase in fees.
and
Okay.
taxes.
No fee. Well, same thing. Same thing.
Same
But
thing. Same thing.
You're gonna see it. But the word now is more affluent if we say fee.
We like to increase fees. What you want to
Yeah.
leave our audience with, Mr. Floyd?
But Tish, something that my mother told me when I was growing up, if I can. If a person bring you garbage and you don't stop him or her, okay? If you don't stop him or her, believe me, he gonna talk about you to someone else. So be wise as that person bring you garbage. Truly, he gonna carry some.
They used to say a dog that'll bring a bone or carry a bone.
Yes, truly, he is going to do the same for you. So don't think that you are immune when he or she bring you this garbage. And I just like the people to remember that. And please teach. They come in all sorts of uniforms. And you have a good weekend.
Well, Mr. Floyd, I will say that I want to laugh.
Hmm?
I'm laughing because I know exactly what you're talking about, but we're gonna let that be. But I'll say this. I do believe that we have an obligation to make sure that people are well informed. I think that, the Bible says, my people perish for lack of knowledge. If you are not paying attention, and if you remember what I said at the beginning of this podcast, I'm listening to, I'm getting trying to get information directly from the source. If you all are not paying attention to what's happening, expect to be very confused, expect to be very angry, expect to be very off put, expect to be very surprised. Get your information directly from the source. We have invited the chairman of the board of county commissioners, Chairman Devier, to come and be on our show next week. He has agreed. I will be sending him the login information um, probably when we wrap this show. We asked him to come on and speak directly about these potential increases to property values and how they may affect the overall constituency that he serves here in Cumberland County. I'm looking forward to having that dialogue. It looks like we maybe get to ask him about this event center as well when he comes on. But I say that to say,
We
y'all
will.
better listen to people. You better actually listen, and you bet these politicians, this is not Washington D.C. You run into these people at Harris Teeter, you run into these people at church, you run into them at these various events where they come and take pictures and shake your hands and kiss your babies. You better start having your questions prepared for them and expecting an answer from them, because my people perish for lack of knowledge. Become knowledgeable about what is going on. I love you. I ask that you would like, share, subscribe, and follow. Tell a friend to tell a friend. Mr. Floyd, thank you for letting me share this platform with you.
Well, as long as you don't talk some gospel, I can handle
I
you.
was getting ready to say it. Thank you for not being a gossip.
Have a
I
good week.
appreciate you not being a gossip. And listen, let me tell you, when I went back to watch our podcast, I want to say this because I want to tell everybody I laughed so hard. Mr. Floyd, I'm glad we both have good character, because every time we end this podcast, and I think that the podcast has gone off, we be talking still and it's still recording. So today I'm gonna be quiet because I recognize that this thing still be recording. We've not ever said anything ugly because that's not our character. But that was funny to me, because if we were those kind of people, y'all would have been hearing some stuff. And on that note, I want to ask that you like, share, subscribe, and follow. Tell a friend to tell a friend, and we will catch you on the next episode. Okay, we're clear.